Have you been pulling this weed from your garden or your landscape? Well, you shouldn't, because it's very nutritional and is edible raw and cooked. It's Jody with All About the Harvest, where I teach you how to grow, use, and preserve your harvest. Today I'm going to be teaching you about this plant. This plant is called lamb's quarters, also known as wild spinach and goosefoot. There are a few other names as well, but those are some of the most common names. I'm going to go over this plant, what it's useful for, how to identify it, and even give you a few recipes that you can use with this plant. Okay, so this is lamb's quarters. So this is the goosefoot looking leaf. And you can see it has 1, 2, 3 main branches. Some of the leaves can look a little different. Here's another one. So that outside edge of the leaf looks a little bit different, but still very similar. Now the plant itself, so in between you will see this purple in the notch there before a new stem comes out. You can see that. That's one way to identify. Another thing is these stems are, especially you'll notice it as they get bigger, they are there's like ribbed, and they have multiple sides to them. You almost think they're square, but they have multiple sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. The tops usually have some white, and when you rub them off, you can feel it's like a crystal. You'll see it on those younger leaves. That white powder is almost like a mineral, and that mineral will help this to become hydrophobic. And my fingers, as I'm rubbing them, I can just feel like sand. Here is one of them, a very small one that I just pulled from my garden. You'll notice the leaves are purple, so this might be a different variety, and that purple color has more vitamins in it. You can just feel the powdery, that mineral powder. So lamb's quarters grows in disturbed soil, so garden beds. I actually had some compost delivered to my house for a landscape project, and I have these growing in that. These are probably 3 feet long, and I have a bunch of them. And what I've been doing is I have been cutting them and actually preserving these. So you can use lamb's quarters as you would spinach. And I'll go over that in a little bit more detail. So you're going to find them in your garden beds, anywhere where you have disturbed soil. They start off very small and then they get bigger, and they can actually grow. I've seen them grow 5, 6 feet tall. So all parts of the lamb's quarters are edible. So the leaves, the stems, and the seeds. It's similar to the amaranth and quinoa. So the seeds you can save, and then the leaves you can eat raw. They do have oxalic acid in them, so you don't want to eat a lot raw. You can cook these like greens, like you would cook say a collard green or spinach. You can wilt them down. And I have made these. I sauteed onions and garlic in some olive oil, and then I added the greens and wilted them down, and that's how I cooked these, and they were wonderful. If you've ever had ramp greens, it had that similar flavor, probably because I added the onion and the garlic. But these are great. So the stems can be used as well. You want to use the ones that are more bendable and pliable, like this. it's hard to bend and it kind of broke there. Whereas here you see it's more bendable. So this upper part is where you could use this, and you would cut this, and you could use this like you would asparagus. I've seen some people just, you take off the leaves and then you're left with the stem. And what they would do, I have yet to do this, but I will be doing this. Now some people will, right here, so it broke there. So what some people do is they will peel it, just peel off those outer edges. Some people will just cut it and then make it like you would make asparagus. This big part, this is really woody. So you would want to wait till you're getting, more to this top portion. And that's super bendable. So you'd want to grab more of that top portion versus the bottom portion. I do use the leaves on the bottom, however. A lot of people will grab the smaller, tender leaves that are on the top. I'll use all of them, and what I've done is I've dehydrated these, and I will link to a video up here. I did a video on how to preserve spinach 3 different ways. And this is basically, it's wild spinach. So this you can actually preserve the same way. And I did multiple ways to preserve it. So watch that video for other ideas how to do that. But you can definitely dehydrate these. And that's what I did for a bunch of mine. And then I've also used some of them raw in salads as well as in smoothies. So I added them as my greens to my smoothie. And then, like I said, I cooked some down and wilted them down as a side dish to dinner. That was really good. You can also use these leaves like you would, like I said, spinach. So you can make them in a spinach artichoke dip. You could use them in a lasagna that calls for spinach. You can make kale chips. You'd use them like you would kale. So you can make kale chips out of these. You could put them in omelets. So add the greens into your omelet. You can freeze them. So now I'm going to cover some of the nutrient properties. A half a cup of raw lamb's quarters has 232% of your daily needs for vitamin A, has 133% of your daily needs for vitamin C, 31% of your calcium needs for the day, 6.7% of iron, 13% potassium, and 1/2 cup of raw lamb's quarters gives you 4.2 grams of protein. I think that's pretty amazing. So this is a great food to have. A lot of people will toss this and compost it, but you can actually eat the entire plant. Now the seed heads, those can be lightly toasted. You can save them, dry them, grind them up into a flour. So lamb's quarters can be used in multiple ways. I hope I inspired you to try lamb's quarters today. Let me know in the comments below if you do and what you think. Also, if this is something you've tried before and you have other recipe ideas, go ahead and put them in the comments below. Again, it's Jody with All About the Harvest, where I teach you how to grow, use, and preserve your harvest. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and of course, like and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. And until next time, I hope you have a great week.